Hey, welcome back to another Sub-Briefs Naval News. Russia just completed its largest war game exercise of the year called July Storm, and it was really impressive. They had over 150 vessels out there in the sea with over 100 airplanes overhead, all exercising at the same time across multiple different theaters. They do this every year, by the way. This is kind of a regular thing. It doesn't always have the same name, but it is an annual exercise of some form or another, combining the Western Military District with the Northern Fleet and the Baltic Sea Fleet. They even had some Black Sea Fleet units participate in this year's July Storm, even though I saw reports out there that that was not the case. They actually did. So while there is an active war going on in Ukraine and has been for many years, they set aside some assets, missile, aircraft, and sea assets to engage in missile drills, gunfire drills, and so forth, and then continue pressing the war there in Ukraine. What was really impressive here were two things. First was China joined them again, as China's been doing more and more of. They sent 4 ships to Vladivostok, and they did exercise with the Russian Navy in the Sea of Japan, while the entire Western District was also being used by other Russian naval assets out there. And the second impressive thing was not just the introduction, because it's technically not an introduction, but the escalation of the use of drones. So unmanned aerial vehicles, unmanned surface vehicles, USVs, were seen in more order this year, and they had much stronger data encryption and data link with them. And I think that's what really got my attention, is how much and how fast Russia has improved their data communications, not just between vessels in theater and across theater as well. That has been improving over time, as you would expect. But what has come on strong in the last 2 years is the ability to deploy dozens of these drones, greater than 10 at a time, in swarms, and then control them from afar. So a commander somewhere, say in Moscow, could be controlling drones directly in the Western District near Vladivostok and over in the Pacific over there. So location for control is no longer a limitation. I think that this is clearly the joint venture of China and Russia working together, as they've been over the years, improving each other's not just tactics and fleet maneuvers and coordination and cooperation, but also communication with data encryption, high data rates that can span large distances and control in near real time. It's very impressive. And so that's July Storm. They're really harping on it right now, saying that it's one of the biggest things that they've done in a very long time. Technically true. But we're going to kind of compare that to what the United States does later on. But first, I want to tell you about how I researched this video. I used a tool called FreeSpoke, and they're the sponsor of this video, and I want to thank them for doing that. But when I dive into stories like this, I don't want to just get surface level headlines from our major headline viewers or even podcasters out there that do a great job. I want the full spectrum of truth, and that's why I use FreeSpoke. FreeSpoke's an AI tool for truth, and it's designed to help you see beyond ideological biases. That means no echo chambers, no filtering out results, just neutral, uncensored answers pulling from sources across the political spectrum. It also is the best fact check for big tech, while performing like platforms like Google will quietly kind of downrank dissenting views and promote narrow versions of the truth for you to digest. FreeSpoke puts everything on the table so that you can make up your own mind. You can decide what you think. How about that? That's kind of revolutionary now, isn't it? And it doesn't just stop at articles. FreeSpoke even pulls from podcast. And here's what's really cool about that is they sync to the moment in the podcast where your question is being discussed. They offer a full transcript of the podcast and even break it down into chapters for you. So it makes research much more interesting and easy to manage whenever they give you that level of detail. You don't have to listen to the whole podcast to get what you're talking about. So you can really see the big picture whenever you have so many sources now. So the best part is that it's totally private. No tracking, no targeted ads, no manipulation of data. They don't share your data with anyone. You're the customer, not the product. So if you care about real context, independent thinking, and getting the entire unadulterated truth, download FreeSpoke and sign up for FreeSpoke Premium today. Go to the link on the screen, freespoke.com/subbrief. Use the code SUB35 or just scan the QR code to get 35% off your annual plan, bringing the total cost down to under $25. That unlocks unlimited access, deeper insights, and a completely ad-free experience on both web and mobile. It's the most powerful truth tool available, and it will change the way you search for answers. Fact check social media, your friends are going to love that, and big tech with FreeSpoke AI search tool. You deserve to have the full picture. All right, so let's take a look at how the U.S. Navy is operating every day and how that compares to these Russian exercises. So the U.S. Navy is at sea every day, deployed around the world. We average on a daily basis between 100 and about 110 vessels deployed at any time. That's personnel up to about 60,000 people total and over 300 aircraft being deployed. And that's not just counting the land-based aircraft. That's at sea on carriers, for example, and all the helicopters that are with the fleet at one time. So whenever we compare Russia's July Storm war game that lasted for over a week to what we do every day, we're operating at about 66 to 70% of what they call the largest war game of the year. We call a Tuesday. It's not a one-to-one comparison. Just know that every day we're getting very good experience at sea, operating from aircraft carriers, submarines, and of course, the fleet around. Everybody's getting lots of experience. Sometimes we go into places like the Red Sea and Arabian Gulf and do some, missile exercises there with the help from the Houthis. Sometimes we send assets into Iran. Either way, we're always getting better at warfighting. We have a lot of experience under our belt at sea. So, and I've put on the map here for you so that you could see where the July Storm exercises were compared to where the U.S. Navy is approximately by fleet around this time. This is not a live update or anything like that, but just know that we've got global reach and they're still operating in blue water, but near to home waters. The Russians are, but they are getting better. I have to give them that. Like I said, we've seen increased in ability in both data communication encryptions. The number of units that they can remotely control and coordinate successfully has risen significantly in the past couple years. If that trend continues, that will become the new threat of the next war. I think everybody's in agreement that drone warfare not only changed the way we look at warfare, it will change the way the next war is fought, just like it changed the way the current war is being fought in Ukraine. We saw, small, inexpensive drones come out of Yemen, for example, and damage ships in the Red Sea. So even low cost, low ability, low resource militaries can have a significant impact on larger militaries now. It's no longer, size isn't as much of an issue as it's becoming a liability in some cases with these drone type attacks. I would also like to point everyone's attention to the Atlantic. Here on the map, you see USNS Comfort. That is one of two hospital ships we have. The other one is Mercy. One operates off the West Coast, one operates off the East Coast. And USNS Comfort has been doing health visits to places like Dominican Republic recently, Costa Rica. She just left that port and is on her way apparently to either South America or Africa, I'm not sure which, to do more things like free health screenings and, goodwill visits to other countries. And I applaud that. I think that's great that the United States Navy has the resources and time to offer that to other countries. What I would like to see, though, is maybe include the United States in those visits a little more often, maybe once or even twice a year. The only time that our hospital ships have ever visited an American port for the purposes of helping healthcare and doing health screenings was in 2020, whenever our healthcare system was stressed to the point of almost collapse during the lockdown and the healthcare crisis that we had at that time. So because we shouldn't wait for a large, pandemic to come across to do that again. I think including the United States in regular visits for free healthcare screenings, dental screenings, and they even do surgery. They have 1,000 hospital beds on these ships. We could really turn that into something more positive for not just the world, but America as well. That's just my 2 cents on the hospital ships. I love seeing them go out there and do these kind of things. I wish they would do more of that at home as well. So I want to move on to something that kind of blew up on the internet a few weeks ago, by the time you see this video anyway. And it's that Donald Trump had put out on social media that he was going to reposition 2 nuclear submarines based on some social media posts that the deputy chairman of the Security Council of Russia had put out. Apparently he was also the former president of Russia. His name's Dmitry. Anyway, Medvedev, I think is his last name. And while this is not unlike Trump to put out something like this, I think some people on social media kind of got the wrong idea. My friends here on YouTube that are talking about this and some have a Navy background, a lot of them have Army Marine Corps background, but everybody seems to assume that nuclear submarines meant the ballistic missile submarines, not just because of the nuclear name, but also he was talking about repositioning them. And while that's a fair assessment, some context to that would be in the Navy and the Department of Defense as a whole, when we speak of nuclear submarines, talking about our own, we're talking about propulsion plant. And every single one of our submarines, whether it's a ballistic missile submarine, a Virginia class, or a Seawolf, or an SSGN, they're all nuclear powered. So it refers to all of them. And it is much more likely that the president would have to reposition a submarine for a tactical weapon than a strategic weapon. So I would offer that whenever he referred to repositioning 2 nuclear submarines, he may have been referring to Virginia class, for example, or maybe SSGNs, because they need to be a little bit closer to their target to conduct an attack. And as far as nuclear weapons go, it doesn't really matter which one he uses, because with the proper equipment and software, our tactical submarines can shoot nuclear-tipped Tomahawk missiles. Again, that ability was taken away from us by Congress for a short time. It's back now. Yay. And also the ballistic missile submarines also could be repositioned for strategic attacks. So both classes, both types of submarines can use nuclear weapons, some at the strategic level, which are much larger warheads, of course, than the tactical ones. And if he was referring to the ballistic missile submarine on your screen here, I've put kind of the red line. If you want to hit that red circle that I put on the map there, you would have to be north of that red line that you see on your screen. So that is most of the world is within the range of our ballistic missile Trident D5 missiles. So if they did have to reposition one of those, it wasn't by very far. It wouldn't take long to get back into position. And it's kind of unlikely that they would be out of position in today's environment to not be able to hit where you see the red X right there. So again, my 2 cents is I think he was referring to tactical submarines. It doesn't really matter. Just something to consider whenever we have a president that likes to tweet policy before actually implementing it, giving him the ability to change his mind a lot, which he does. Yeah. Okay. Well, with that, let's thank again FreeSpoke for sponsoring this video. I want you to click the use the link on the screen, click the link that's down in the description, scan the QR code, however you want to do it, to support the sponsors that help me make this video. This is a great AI tool. Honestly, I've used it to make this video. It's great. So FreeSpoke AI, check out their premium plan, save 35% off using the QR code or sub35 checkout code. And I think you'll get a lot out of it like I do. Thanks for watching.